Welcome to today's episode of The Growth Zone. I am Christian Bartsch. What is the core benefit of listening to this show? Business leaders in corporate and privately held companies gain insights into trends and strategies that provide them with a competitive advantage in the marketplace. Each episode focuses on an area such as marketing, sales, innovation, or funding that is absolutely critical to the growth of companies, whether they are startups or corporate global players, where management needs to juggle the challenges of market entry or knowing how to navigate the uncertainties of disruptive developments. Mind feeding is where clarity evolves and helps solving organizational challenges. For those who listen to the entire episode, I have a special surprise gift. I am working on some great guests that are industry leaders in management, innovation, and marketing. Let's get started on today's episode. Today I have with me Heather Dominick from New York City, and we're going to talk today about how to thrive as a highly sensitive leader through and beyond these exceptional times. But before we start our conversation, I'd like to give you a little introduction to Heather. So, Heather is a woman who is impressively successful and highly sensitive. A former high school drama teacher who collaborated with none other than Bette Midler, a graduate of New York University, where she received her first coaching training. Heather is the winner of the 2015 Best of Manhattan Coaching Award and creator of the 2014 Stevie Award winning virtual event, A Course in Business Miracles. Her clients definitely are from all around the world. That includes even far distant places like Iceland, Nigeria, Russia, Asia, South America, Australia, and Europe, and of course the US. She has published numerous books, including the book called Stepping Stones to Success, alongside Deepak Chopra, a big name in the area. So, what else is so exceptional to have Dominick here on the show? My core reason is because she is an exceptional facilitator and teacher. Heather is known for creating a safe, sacred community for true transformation, whether she is teaching a business miracles class, delivering training online or in person, or mentoring members of her Business Miracles community in her various mentoring programs. She has helped thousands of HSE release lifelong limiting beliefs, overcoming fears, and learn how to build their business in a way that actually feels so good that they can't help but create solid, sustainable, high-level financial success. She is also the founder and leader of Highly Sensitive Entrepreneur Movement since 2010. So let's listen into the conversation with Heather. So I've got now with me Heather Dominick from New York City. And we've got some really interesting topics for today. Before we get started on that, Heather, can you please tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yes, absolutely. So I've been self-employed for almost 20 years. And before that, I was a high school drama teacher. So I have run quite the gamut of varied experience. And I am currently navigating, what it was to live through the epicenter of COVID in New York City and coming out the other side, and the resilience that takes for each of us through these times.
Absolutely, because I've been just traveling. I just returned today as well from being abroad. And we had as well to experience the craziness of what this pandemic puts as well for us. Because before we could even board the plane, we had to have a COVID test before, but it had to be 48 hours or earlier. And of course, when you think of it, the labs have to do, of course, all the tests. They have got suddenly, when governments suddenly decide that you have to have these tests and so on before you can even board, the labs are not properly prepared to have like hundreds of people flying that they all suddenly need the tests and that. And it's crazy then, especially afterwards, and that creates havoc. For instance, just an example, when we left the plane, arriving here in Germany, it took 1 hour to get out of the terminal, and that's one of the oldest terminals where usually it's a matter of maybe 15 minutes maximum. And
Well,
that's even if you're really slow. If you're really, really slow,
yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah.
crazy.
It's
But
teaching us all patience, right? And how to work at a different pace for sure.
exactly, and sometimes when these things come up on us, it really, I think it creates some kind of not just fear and uncertainty and doubt, but it actually creates unhappiness and stress on those things. And everything's, oh, why me now? Because I'm this in country, but in other countries they don't have to do this. It's not good anxiety that it creates. But talking of that, our topic for today is how to thrive as a highly sensitive leader through and beyond these exceptional times. And that definitely quite a strain on us all, whether we have a small business or a global business, it doesn't matter. Whether we are leaders or people who are responsible to train the next generation of entrepreneurs, of leaders, of managers, or subject matter experts, doesn't matter. It's quite a challenge.
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. It really requires a whole new level and way of thinking and acting, and this is so much of what I've been focusing on in support of those that I train and mentor since the beginning of this global pandemic.
Yeah, definitely. Because without training, it's can be quite a stressful situation, especially when you think of all the families and so on that either whether they're living in New York City and experience this chaos, or people in Florida or in other countries. When you think of it, for instance, countries like South Africa, they've had now lockdowns for a long time and adjusting again and all the time, and people are very anxious because of course they don't have that security environment or the social security that we maybe have in countries like in Europe or in countries like North America, where there's a certain level of support. Many of these countries, people don't even have health insurance or any kind of government support. That's quite a strain on people.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I don't know if you just heard New York City outside my
Yeah.
window. But, in addition to everything that you just described, is, whether you have that high level of impact for yourself or your family as a result of this pandemic, or just what it means to navigate the changes that this pandemic has introduced into our day to day lives. And so that's what I've really been focusing on is, I really see this pandemic as, a massive opportunity for us as a global community, a global nation to adjust the way we respond to change. And some of us are doing better than others. But that is, really what I see as the incredible opportunity for all of us. And whether you are in business for yourself, or whether you are part of an organization or a company, or whether you are, the leader of your family or yourself. This is a very important skill to be developing as we live through these times, how to really navigate change effectively, because when we resist change, that's what creates so much of the stress that you're speaking of.
Yeah, absolutely. Because especially if we're leaders, like business leaders, we have staff usually, and yeah, these times when all these kind of chaotic things happening, lockdowns and all that stuff, it affects the families of our employees, and it affects as well, of course, their children. They start, of course, asking how can I deal with this situation? My child is stressed out, and I am stressed out. Then my colleagues are stressed out because I'm stressed out, and so on and so on. And at the end, at the top, the CEO is stressed out because all his staff is going crazy because they don't know, am I going to have a job? Are we going to be able to survive as a company even? Or am I going to get a cut in salary? I'm going to be laid off. Am I going to get sick? The crazy things are happening. For instance, when we were going to get our test, we were thinking, what if we are positive? What if we don't get the test in time? We can't board the plane. What if this and that happens? And you start thinking all this crazy stuff. Instead of thinking, okay, we'll see. Things will work out. It'll work. And if it doesn't work out, we'll find a solution somehow. But nature somehow gets crazy. And as I say, leaders have to be sensitive in a way. But on the other hand, how should they deal as well with this kind of stress? What do you think?
Yes. Well, since the beginning of the pandemic, I have been teaching what I'm seeing as three primary categories in response to the pandemic and the changes that it's bringing. And those categories are the category of denial, the category of innovation, or the category of victimization. That first category of denial, that's for the people who are so averse to even the consideration of the change that this pandemic is bringing, and so badly want to have things go back to how they were pre-pandemic that they will literally deny what is happening in front of us, around us, and again, the changes that the pandemic are bringing. The third category of victimization is those who really default to being a victim or in a victim mindset to the changes that have been brought by COVID and the global pandemic. And many of the people who default to that category will most likely stay in that category for a very long time. For those of us who are called to lead through these exceptional times, that second category of innovation is the category that will have us thriving. And innovation is about a willingness to access creative solutions, to be willing to pivot on a dime and at any moment, and to be able to have a clear intent of where they're looking to go in regards to those that they lead. So, meaning the path to the intention might shift, it might change, it might wind, it might curve, but the innovative leader is able to keep their eye in the direction of that primary overall intention. And again, that is so much of what these times are bringing to us in regards to an opportunity, how to think differently instantly.
Yes, definitely, because it's like a question about what is our definite purpose and that stuff that motivates us to continue doing what we're doing, even if many people say it's no point, we're all going to die, or the businesses are all going to collapse. Next financial crisis is going to crash everybody, and no clients, no money, no business, and then eventually we all go bust, whatever, or whatever can happen. We don't know that, of course, in today's time, what's going to go that crazy. And I see it from times before, especially as I see you have had you've had numerous books, including Stepping Stones to Success, that you had alongside with Deepak Chopra. Is that as well in the direction of, for instance, how to use maybe meditation or so to handle stress? What can I imagine by that?
Oh, yes, for sure. I mean, that's absolutely the work that Deepak does and focuses on, and really, stepped up into even more of a global leadership visibility at the beginning of the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic in regards to the focus of meditation. For myself, specifically for the highly sensitive entrepreneurs and leaders that I mentor and are in my training programs, I really focus on an approach that I refer to as energy management. And the way that I teach energy management is through tangible tools that you can use to really focus your energy before entering into either just a day to day task or maybe a task that is seeming or feeling very daunting. And the tangible aspect is really about putting pen to paper as part of the energy management, which, differentiates it from meditation. And also by putting pen to paper, that it becomes a process that you can track over time. So you can really see how your reaction or your response or your beliefs to, again, a specific action, task, or even just a thought literally does have the ability to transform over time. And that has really made such a positive impact for, again, those that I mentor and train.
Yeah, that's definitely a great thing, especially with all this craziness that we're experiencing. And yeah, and that's so important to see how we can really cope with all these different things. Because if I can imagine that somebody who's just focused on a local business, or somebody who is maybe in a situation where they have to handle as well stuff like currencies, different effects of different countries locking down, and maybe you need supplies from other countries. That's adds stress, adds things where you think, okay, where can I get my stuff from, this and that? And how do I handle this, especially when maybe some people are not willing to do business with me because maybe they don't know my country, they don't know whether I'm going to pay enough or pay in time and so on, and create problems and that. Everybody is quite stressed out. You notice it sometimes that people are really short fused. And when you think of the fire engine just passing you, yeah, the same thing we have as well with us as well here. Often at the moment, you don't have any fire engines passing by, but I'm living here as well on a busy road. We have sometimes in the evening 3 or 4 ambulances passing by, and of course that makes you think, okay, what's going to happen next? How's business going to do? How can I do change, adapt, and so on? With my business as well, we've been adapting things. In some areas we have less business happening, in other areas it's been really growing, which is an interesting thing, where you say, okay, as a leader I need to somehow keep that focus, and I can really find and let's say filter out all the noise that's driving people crazy. You see the news and all these different things, and yeah, are there any ways that you can help as well, leaders really to reduce the negative impact from media and all these things that are driving usually people crazy, to say, oh, maybe it's not going to happen, maybe my company, my clients going bust and so on? How do you help them to actually see the positive potential in what's happening at the moment, in comparison to the people who are, as you said, being victimized, or they're saying this is all not real, it's fake, and all this different stuff, there's no real illness and so on, and they're just trying to deny everything, and hoping that people are then going to deny and change everything back, although we can't easily change what's happening at the moment.
Well, I think I heard you use a key phrase, which is quieting all the noise. So that is really such a key aspect to remaining in a healthy leadership space. Again, especially through these exceptional times, and especially if you're a person who's highly sensitive. So a lot of what I was working with, again, those that I serve in my community pre-COVID, and definitely during and through COVID, has been about how to really be the master of your schedule and the master of your time. And as part of that, to really be creating that space where you are quieting all the noise. It can be very tempting, especially with so much change happening so frequently, to, be tuned in to various news sources, whether you read the paper or listen to podcasts or watch local news. And yet we have to remember that, again, though there's a lot that's happening in regards to change around us, for each one of us, we are the master of our thoughts. So at any opportunity, we have the choice to react to what is happening or to respond to what is happening. And by creating that space to quiet all the noise, whether you choose to support that quieting through meditation, like Deepak Chopra teaches, as you mentioned, Christian, or to engage in energy management, like the tools that I teach, or any other form that's going to allow you 5, 10, 15 minutes at the very least to allow all that is around you to quiet, to be able to connect within, and from that connection to be able to open up access to those creative solutions in that innovation category that I was speaking of earlier. Otherwise, it is so very easy to get caught up in the questioning, that you're demonstrating so well. Yet the answers, and the highest answers, will never come from the mind's relentless questioning, but it will come from allowing and creating that quiet space. I mean, it's something that's been taught, for centuries. And, we could go back to, one of the Bibles of entrepreneurship, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And there's so many stories just even in that book that speak to how, the men that Napoleon Hill was writing about at that time created that space for quiet. So even within the midst of so much chaos and change that we're all in right now, creating that space in the way that works best for you is an absolute mastery must, and a key aspect of successful leadership.
Yeah, and as you mentioned as well in some other content that you as well provided as well to your audience, I think you mentioned as well the issues that people have when they have these lifelong limiting beliefs. That is a challenge and eventually creates, or maybe is built from fears that are somehow hidden inside our mindsets or our thinkings, and that then sabotages maybe our attempts to find the positive opportunities that is currently available to us. Because I think the universe often offers us many things that we can choose from, whether either being a victim, as you said, or being in denial, or even being a very innovative person and saying, okay, how can I maybe turn this whole situation to the benefit of not just myself, but of others, and create a business or a new product line or anything that might be of a positive outcome. And the universe might even decide it's a good thing to sort of support or help us with maybe some insights that maybe guides us a bit. And so do you have any ideas or suggestions on how to overcome these fears and limiting beliefs?
Well, I would say, first and foremost is just to be open to recognizing them, right? So often fears and limiting beliefs that have been with us for so long that we come to actually name them as true. So the way that you can begin to recognize that you have a fear or limiting belief working against you is there's a part of you that knows that you desire for things to be different than they are. And in the midst of having that desire, that is when the fear or limiting belief will show itself. And so it's the simultaneous existence of the of the desire and the fear that shows you that there is an alternate possibility. So that recognition is really so important. And the next step to take from there is to begin a process of self-inquiry where you can begin to just very gently question and start to dismantle what's driving the fear or what's driving the limiting belief. Having someone that can support you in the process is definitely very helpful, whether, that's a colleague or a coach or a mentor. However, it is also something that you can engage in, with enough practice for yourself. And then as a result of the inquiry, you can start to, again, get to what's driving that fear or that limiting belief, and then to begin the process of transforming it. And this is what I like to refer to as flipping the switch, where once you can identify what's driving the fear or the limiting belief, you can start to begin to access the possibility of the opposite. So, for example, just making up a limiting belief might be, I can't, my business can't survive this pandemic. And once you're able to start to get behind what's driving that, then you can start to flip the switch to how can my business survive this pandemic? And so that's just a real summarized snapshot of how to engage in the belief transformation process. And it's something that if you are committed to shifting the fear and committed to transforming the limiting beliefs, then it's a practice that you'll want to engage in consistently for yourself so that you just, acknowledge it's not a one and done, but it's something that you commit to on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely. It was great having you here on the show. And Heather, where can people actually get in contact with you or read more about what you do?
Absolutely. So you can find out more at businessmiracles.com.
Awesome. So it was great. And I hope we maybe have a future episode again together and look into some other topics for those who really want to change their business attitude and become more highly sensitive leaders.
Thank you so much, Christian.
And what's more exciting even now for our show as well is that we are available on even more platforms. We've just added as well Ghana. Ghana.com is a platform for the Indian region. And there we are already as well growing our community of Indian listeners, which is fantastic. We are as well available on iTunes, on platforms like Spotify, on other places as well. For instance, SoundCloud and all these many different other places. Google Podcasts, of course, anyway. And that's a great thing. And we are going to be soon as well, not only available over Amazon's Alexa or Amazon's podcast platform. We'll have as well other platforms that we're currently being added to, which is really, really exciting, and adding as well more reach. But it's great to see that we have listeners in USA, in Canada is as well growing. We've got an exciting community in Ireland. Yes, they are obviously enjoying listening. We have a great amount of growing community, and as well our friends in France, in Paris, and in all the other areas of France. It's really great, and it reminds me all the time of the times when I used to drive through France to Calais or towards Boulogne-sur-Mer and all these different places. I crossed always through France, whether it was by car or when I, for instance, took the TGV to Paris. A great experience. And the nice thing about it is we are getting listeners as well from other areas. We've got people in Nigeria, in Ghana, in South Africa who are listening as well and enjoying the content and as well the interviews that I'm getting on the show. It's, of course, sometimes quite a challenge to find people who have the right value and have interesting content as well for you guys and ladies. And that's the great challenge. But we are, after a little bit of a break that we recently had, we are adding more new, fresh content for you. I see as well, we have a new community as well in Russia. People in Russia as well listening to our show now, which is great. Because I've got several friends in Russia as well who obviously are enjoying it and telling their friends to go and listening. Friends as well in Bulgaria. Bulgaria, we're growing as well. It's really nice. Hungary even. Hungary and Poland, Warsaw, for instance. I see quite a lot of people now gradually as well growing to our audience. And that adds as well other places. In Asia, we're really great in Malaysia, in the Philippines. That's some place where we are adding more and more people. And even in remote areas like Australia and New Zealand, which is a great place because in Australia I did one of my business studies at Monash University where I studied as well business and commerce. And some of my business knowledge as well comes from applying that knowledge that I learned at university in a business context, which of course means we have to adapt the academic knowledge to make it fit to the real business world of an entrepreneur, which is sometimes quite a challenge. Nevertheless, that's a great thing that we can do. And talking of that, oh yes, there are so many great things that we can talk about. Nevertheless, I'm really interested to find out as well what you would like us to focus on. Sometimes you might have listened to different kind of content and have started thinking, well, yeah, but how they haven't really answered this question I've got in my mind about this and this part of this topic that maybe needs to go in a little bit deeper, or an aspect that's just a bit at the side of that. But I would like to know more about that. And it's absolutely awesome if you can provide me with a feedback. You can as well reach me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is CAP Barge. In spelling would be Charlie Alpha Papa Bravo Alpha Romeo Tango Sierra Charlie Hotel. So if you go and look for me on Twitter, you can follow me. You can as well message me. We are as well on Instagram. The Growth Zone podcast is as well there presented. And you can find us as well, of course, on Facebook. The Growth Zone has its own Facebook page, and we have a group as well. If you like, you can, of course, join our group and exchange ideas or even submit your topics that you might like to listen to or get maybe some answers on. And I'll be quite happy to look into that and provide you some more insights in that area. It was really a great thing to have this conversation today about these important topics, and I'm sure in the future we'll be talking more about that and see how it can be of benefit for your business and how you can apply it as well in your business. Because the key thing is about knowledge, providing here knowledge for you, but you need to be able to apply it in your own business. As I explained as well in many of my podcasts, at the beginning, you need to have the strategy. If you don't have the right strategy in place, you can't really do anything. And often, if that's missing, and if you apply technology to a problem, whether you're trying to solve a technical problem in an organization, whether you're trying to solve your marketing problems or your lead generation problems or your sales problems, you're trying to address it with technology alone, it doesn't work. You need the combination. You need a strategy. You need technology to assist you. I'm speaking importantly about assisting, not replacing you, assisting. And that applies whether it's marketing automation, whether it's business processes inside the way you treat clients or how you handle orders, sales, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter. It's first strategy, then people, then technology, and then optimizing it so that the client who is giving us feedback helps us actually to improve the entire process and see as well whether we need to adjust our strategy, our technology, our content, all these different things. So, speaking of that, please just go on prmediareach.com and you can send us there as well a message. We have as well the transcripts of this episode there as well a few weeks later usually. And you can read there as well, of course. If you're interested, to just go on prmediareach.com, click at the top on podcasts, and then you can see all the different episodes that we've had, and you can listen to them again if you missed anything or so. You can do it as well on the browser, or you can go directly from there to one of your preferred platforms. Talking of platforms, it would be nice, of course, if you would go to podchaser.com and maybe add a positive review to help us as well get more people interested in the content that we're producing for this podcast. So if that's that for today, then I definitely would say tune in the next time when you have time, or even listen to older episodes that we've have in the past. After this section, I've got a little bit more additional information for you. If you've got time, listen in. It would be great. See you then. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of The Growth Zone with Christian Bartsch. Thank you for listening. Please leave a review or rating here on iTunes or on podchaser.com. If you found the content helpful, then share it on social media. I would like to invite you to follow our show so that you don't miss the upcoming interviews with leaders in the market. Simply visit the website follow.prmediareach.com. I will be adding the link also to the description of this episode so that you just need to click on that link. For those of you who are listening and signing up to follow the show, I have reserved a free copy of the Ultimate Guide on Content Marketing. This is the strategy that got me top corporate clients like McDonald's, Linde, Hewlett-Packard, Deutsche Bank, Volvo, and many others. That strategy has been working for over 10 years. It also got me contracts with police, transport authorities, military, and several universities, and even leading research institutes. For sure, it also worked wonders as it got me many small, medium-sized entrepreneurs and enterprises as clients. And that even included international clients from all around the world. The link to sign up for our free broadcasting service and the guide is follow.prmediareach.com. That will give you access to the most recent version of my ultimate guide on content marketing. You can follow me as well on Twitter by using the Twitter handle CAPBarge. That's spelled Charlie Alpha Papa Bravo Alpha Romeo Tango Sierra Charlie Hotel. Yes, that is CAP Barge. Charlie Alpha Papa Bravo Alpha Romeo Tango Sierra Charlie Hotel.